All right, it is 6 o'clock, so we will get started. Um, Good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to make it out tonight. Um, my name's Dan Bomser. I am an engineer with Abonmarche, and we are the township's civil engineering consultant that will be handling a lot of the construction administration and inspection on this Lac Du Mont Drive reconstruction project. I'm sure most of you have gotten the notice that we mailed, and hence why you are here. I've seen some familiar names on this list of folks, and again, appreciate you guys reaching out with your questions and engaging with us on this as we get started. So, prepared just a couple slides here to discuss the project and what it's going to entail and the impacts that it's going to have on you guys and what we're doing about it. And as far as questions, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of them, but hopefully we're able to answer a lot of them in Q&A at the end. If anybody has any questions that remain, we'll unmute mics and let people ask what they want to ask, and hopefully we can get everything answered. So without any further ado, I'll get this started here. So this is the Lac Du Mont Drive pavement reconstruction and cement stabilization project, and it's taking place between Lake Lansing Road all the way down to Boys Isle Drive. So a couple quick details about the project. As I'm sure you all know, Lac Du Mont Drive has pavement that's in pretty poor condition, and we are replacing it as part of the local streets paving program. This was funded by a local millage that was passed in 2019 and expires in 29. This is a unique project because most of those streets are just getting mill and overlaid, which means that they take an inch of asphalt off and put it back on, and it's pretty quick. Unfortunately, with this street, there's a little bit more going on, and the roadbed, which is the supporting soil layers, are also in poor shape, and this is what leads to much of the pavement distress seen today. So if we were to, in theory, just mill off pavement and put it back, it would get back to the existing condition as it was pretty quickly. So what we're doing here is we are addressing this poor roadbed support by crushing remaining asphalt material in place, which in some places is up to 10 inches deep, and fortifying it with cement to create a new reinforced roadbed, which hopefully won't settle like the current road is and provide you guys a long-lasting quality street. This process is often referred to full depth reclamation, or FDR, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on the next page. So on the notice that you got, it had mentioned that this process could take up to 2 to 3 weeks. This is not our plan, but given the nature of construction, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's weather delays and things like that for each given phase, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We expect it to take 7 days. So the first day, you will see them mill off the asphalt surface that will be replaced with new pavement, and that material will be removed and trucked off site, just like a normal mill and overlay job. There will still be asphalt remaining that's going to be kept in place and be used for the new roadbed. So that existing material that's still in place will be pulverized in its existing spot and kept on the site. And from your perspective, it'll look like the pavement is getting milled a second time, but that's what's happening and why it's happening. During both of those 2 days, the road will remain open to traffic for residents. Day 3, they will spread cement over the roadway and mix in that cement with the pulverized asphalt and water and recompact that roadbed. So day 3 of this process will be the first day that residents will not have access to the road. And then days 4 and 5, since it's cement, just like any other concrete, we need to allow time for it to cure. to gain strength and be able to support vehicles. So that'll be days 4 and 5. So days 3, 4, and 5 of this process, for 3 days total per phase, we expect to not have vehicular access to the phase that we're working on. Day 6, they're going to place a bottom asphalt layer, and they'll do that one half of the road at a time. So we'll be able to maintain traffic during that. And then at the end, a top asphalt layer will be placed, and same thing, traffic will be maintained part width during that time. So there's an asterisk next to day 7, place top asphalt layer, because the way this is going to happen is that they're going to remove and stabilize phase 1, they're going to remove and stabilize phase 2, and once they have the asphalt on, they're going to do one final top course along the whole street. So it has one final new contiguously looking road. So, as shown on this map, the construction is going to take place in 2 phases. All through residents will have access to the street, with one phase closed at a time, while all through traffic will be blocked and detoured onto Boys Isle. This also includes the CATA 22 and 23 routes the entire duration of the project, whether Lac Du Mont is closed to vehicles or not. So the phasing, as you can see, is split where it's shown. This is very close to 2047 Lac Du Mont Drive, and it's split between 2 driveways on each side. So the folks that are in these parking lots here have gotten lucky, as you will have access to one of your drives from one direction or the other at certain points of at every given point of the project. This was key. One of the questions we got commonly was, is there going to be enough street parking to support everybody in the prior phase? The answer, based on our calculations, is yes, but it's going to be tight, so every spot that we can salvage goes a long way. So construction planning. We have a general perspective timeline laid out here. We are going to update dates as we get closer, and you will see posters outside your mailbox with updates on construction and what the final dates are going to be. With weather and availability of contractor equipment, it's hard to say definitively which days the road is going to be worked on and which days it's going to be closed. However, if everything goes the way we plan now, this is the tentative schedule. So phase 1 is from Lac Du Mont, on Lac Du Mont is from Lake Lansing to 2047. And that's going to take place from July 21st to July 28th. And the expected dates where there won't be vehicular access on phase 1 would be July 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And then beyond that, we expect it to be open. Likewise, on phase 2, that will be from 2047 Lac Du Mont all the way down to Boys Isle Drive. This is expected to go from July 29th to August 4th, and we expect the closure dates for the cement stabilization and curing to be August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and then on August 5th, they will do a final top course. Again, all of these dates are tentative and subject to change with contractor equipment availability and weather, but we're trying to stick to this as close as possible and get this project done as fast as possible to limit impacts on all of you. Given this, residents should try to reschedule any very large deliveries or at-home appointments during the phase that they're located on. Before road closures, please remove any vehicles from the active construction phase. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. And lastly, we're trying to do everything we can to accommodate everybody. Some people may have their own individual needs. We're going to have inspectors out on the site starting next week, even before construction begins. And you'll see our inspector, his name's Brian, great guy. Please don't hesitate while you're driving through to stop and flag him down and talk to him about what specific needs you have. And we're going to try to work to accommodate everybody as best as we can. So during construction, residents in the active phase where the street is closed will need to park on the inactive portion. So the entire road will be closed to through traffic for the duration of the project. We realize that parking is tight. Based on our calculations, everybody should be able to fit. But if they cannot, it's okay to spill over onto Boys Aisle. Please refrain from parking in parking areas that are for other residents. We're all doing our best to get through this together. Residents in the active phase will need to walk to their vehicles or request a ride from construction staff. Obviously, there could be periods where there's a lot of people requesting rides at the same time. Please allow for adequate time for accommodations. Construction staff will have golf carts to ferry residents to their vehicles that are parked at the other end of the phasing, and those will be available on the days that the road is entirely closed. There's a phase entirely closed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We have 2 golf carts right now, but we have contingency plans for more if demand exceeds what we have right now. If you have other needs, again, earlier or later, please talk to our inspectors on site, and we'll work to handle everybody's needs as best as we can. Same thing, please follow up with on-site project inspectors during construction with questions, concerns, or needs. They're going to be the ones that'll be able to address them the quickest. So we're going to go through a couple FAQs here really quick, and then we are going to open the floor for questions. So I've gotten a lot of calls from a lot of you over the course of the last week and a half, and a lot of people ask the same stuff, so we're just going to knock some of those out really quick. So the most common question is, what about emergency vehicles? So emergency vehicles will have access to the site the entire time. The road will be passable, but when we drive on it during the curing time, it could cause setbacks and delays, and we want to prevent that to the greatest extent possible. So emergency vehicles will have access. What about mail, packages, and trash? So mail and packages, we are working with USPS to make sure that they will still have access to your mailboxes. Packages, same thing, will accommodate package deliveries, but if you have something very large or very important, please try to reschedule as much as possible to not overlap with the 3 days that your phase is closed. And then trash will be rescheduled to a different day for that week when the road is open. We will provide updates of what day that is for each phase as we get closer and coordinate with Granger. What if there isn't enough street parking? We expect that there will be enough street parking based on our calculations, but if needed, additional parking on Boys Aisle is available. What if there are not enough golf carts? Again, we're starting with 2, and if we get to a point where we are overwhelmed and need to add a 3rd, there are contingency plans to do that. But please, if you do need a ride, please try to leave adequate time and notify us in advance so we can accommodate everybody to the greatest extent possible. A couple other ones I got is, what if I work late during the closures? What if I can't walk or need assistance? What if I have difficulty parallel parking? A lot of individual type concerns. If you have individual concerns about this, please, please, please reach out to our inspector, Brian, and we're going to do our best to accommodate everybody to the greatest extent that we can. Why can't it be done part width and traffic maintained? Basically, due to the nature of the cement tiller, this makes it very difficult and would require additional phasing and would likely result in more delays and extend the project timeline. Our goal is to minimize your inconvenience and to get this done as quickly as possible. Another option for the project was to do a full reconstruct, which instead of taking, a week or so, would have taken a month and a half to 2 months. So again, this was a option that was chosen to minimize impacts on you guys. So that's everything that I have right now. I'm going to show the next slide, which has our contact information for project staff. Feel free to write it down, but it's also on the website. And then with that, if you have any questions, please feel free to hit the raise hand button above or type them in the chat, and we will see if we can get to everybody. And thank you again for coming out, and really appreciate everybody's patience and cooperation.
Dan, one more thing before we open up Q&A. Could
Sure.
you open up Google Earth and show why we picked where phase 1 ends and phase 2 begins, and how traffic will circulate through the 2 complexes in question there?
Sure. So where the project is divided is essentially right here. So this was selected because you have drives on each side of this line for all of this parking. So this will allow all of these people to remain parked and take as much parking pressure off for one point where we had to cut the project. Anything else you want to add, Dan?
No, I think that was perfect. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So I am going to go to Sally. Sally, if you can unmute yourself and feel free to ask your question.
So I'm basically quote unquote disabled because of my bad back. And I have a service dog, and I am going to be leaving on July. Oh, let me see here. It's July 28th or 29th to go up and take care of my 89-year-old mother for about a week. So am I not going to be having access to my vehicle in my parking lot, and I'm not going to be able to, because I have a lot of stuff that I need to haul in and out to my vehicle. And I'm just curious as to, is that going to be during the time that our construction is going to be going on, or?
So, yes, based on the current schedule, July 28th and 29th, the roadway should be open. However, we are subject to, again, weather and equipment delays. Please, as we get closer to the date and construction starts, follow up with our inspector, Brian, and he'll work with you to find an optimal solution.
And you'll be sending that, his information to us or whatever so that we can contact him?
Yep, it'll be on the website, and it's on the screen right now. It says Brian Poynton, construction inspector.
Oh, okay, yep, okay.
Yep.
And so at this point in time, I should be okay to go back and forth to my car, load it up, and then take off, because I'm not coming back until August 3rd or 4th.
Yep, absolutely. There's gonna be a 3-day window where you're gonna be impacted, and as long as it's not within that three days, you'll be fine.
Okay. And then otherwise, I have to contact somebody in order to get somebody to bring a vehicle to me to get me back and forth. with all my junk.
Correct. And yeah, I don't want to
Asking
try to
what
figure out the
3
logistics
days.
with you on here right now, just because there's a lot of variables that we don't know and timeline that we don't know. But these kind of
Okay.
situations are the perfect thing where they'll need to be handled on a case by case basis.
And I have another neighbor with me that is within our complex, and so I'm helping her out by being on this meeting with you all. But she's asking what are the 3 days in between the time that you're saying that we're going to be impacted again?
Yep.
What are those?
So if you are north of 2047, we expect those days, which granted this timeline is subject to a lot of variables, right? So north of 2047, we expect it to be July 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And if you're south of 2047, we expect it to be August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And again,
Okay.
this updated PowerPoint will be available on the website at the link that's on your notice. So you guys
can
can
you
print this out and view
I'm
this.
I'm directionally challenged. I'm 1998. What am I phase 2? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, I don't know. Are you closer to Lake Lansing or are you closer to Hazlitt?
Closer to Hazlitt, I think.
So that would be phase 2. So that would be
Okay.
1, 2, and 3.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Sally. All right. So I'm going to go to the next person in line, which is Kelly Dean. So Kelly, you are, please unmute your mic and feel free to ask your question. Kelly, are you there? All right. Well, we're going to go to the next person in line, and then we will come back to you, Kelly. So
Remind
next
them
up,
to unmute.
Kelly, are you able to unmute? Kelly, if you give it a try now, it should let you unmute. Oh. Kelly, if you want to type your question in the chat, if you're still having trouble, we can answer it that way. And if you need further details than the answer that I give, please feel free to call me, Dan Bomser, and we'll discuss your question. Thank you. All right, so we're moving on to Carly. So Carly, you are unmuted.
Okay, thank you. I live in the apartment complex, and there are quite a few vehicles that don't move too often out of the parking lot. If they don't need access to their vehicle, are they allowed to stay parked in the parking lot? Or do all vehicles have to be removed from the parking lot of the apartment?
No, if they don't need to move them and they want to stay parked, that is totally fine. Just once they start doing the cement stabilization and curing, they will not be able to get their car out of there until the 3-day window is up.
And then I guess I do have a question. When you said if they need to park, if there's overage and not enough room for parking, or park on Boys Isle, where on Boys Isle would we park?
So we would ask people to park for phase 1 overage, meaning they're parking on phase 2. We'd ask them to park at the south end of Boys Isle, closest to Hazlitt, and then for phase 2, for the opposite. So when phase 2 and the people are parking on phase 1, we'd ask they park on the north end, closest to Lake Lansing. But that's a great question. But again, we'll do whatever we need to do to accommodate all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so Kelly has typed her question here. Kelly, I'm guessing you still can't unmute, but how was the street parking space determined? There are a lot of people who currently park along the street on a regular basis. Was this taken into consideration when determining space? In addition, is there any thought to people who have handicap tags in terms of being able to park closer to their complex. So as far as how much space is determined, we essentially did just like a quick calculation to determine the length of road, both sides that are going to be available for parking, and divided by the average length of a vehicle, and had a factor of safety here to account for some cars that might be parked there just normally. But again, if there is an overage, it's not a big deal. People should be able to park on Boys Island between the two streets. There is definitely enough. As far as people who have handicap tags, there's limits to what we can do. If you really have something where even with the shuttle, with the golf carts is going to be not possible, please, again, just talk to our inspector, Brian, and we'll do everything we can do to accommodate everyone to the greatest extent possible. Next question in the chat is, Tammy, what information is going to be posted on the mailboxes? So Tammy, what we expect is going forward, as conditions change, which we hope they will not, is which days each section of road is expected to be closed. So hopefully if everything goes smoothly, it's me just reproducing the dates that are on this PowerPoint. But again, with weather and equipment delays, that might not be the case. So that's what's going to be there. Next question in the chat. Heidi Snow, Heidi, I see your hand raised. I am going to see if I can unmute you here. Heidi, are you able to unmute yourself? You can give it a try right now. Nope. Okay. So Heidi has typed in the chat and she asks, can we make a reservation for the carts at a specific time? There's not going to be a formal reservation system, but yes, the earlier you're able to call us and let us know when you're going to need a ride, the more likely it is we're going to be able to get to you in a timely manner. Any forewarning we can get is greatly appreciated. How will mail delivery be impacted? So Anita asks, how will mail delivery be impacted? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we're able to coordinate with the postmaster and ferry them either by foot or by golf cart to your postal boxes and maintain mail delivery as normal. Additionally, some of these days where the cement curing is taking place are going to be on a weekend and there might not be normal mail service anyway. But the intention is to have mail delivery continue as normal. If you have a very large package you expect or something important, please try to reschedule that and outside of the window when construction is happening or when your phase is closed. We have a new question from Ken, which says, have therapy coming. We are in the good zone. Can my therapist park if it's available? Yeah, I think short-term stuff like that for an hour is okay. I think you're very lucky to be in that zone, but not everyone's going to have that luxury. So I think that's all the questions. Does anybody? Okay, we have Robert. So Robert, I'm going to unmute you. And if you're able to unmute your mic and ask your question. Robert, are you able to unmute and ask? Robert, we can't hear you. Please feel free to type your question in the chat or feel free to contact me tomorrow and we'll talk through your question. Next question from William McCann. I am handicapped. My intent is to prep for 5 days to remain in my apartment. Is this okay? Yeah, that's definitely fine. if you want to keep your car in the lot at that point, that's fine too. Just know that once the cement stabilization starts, all the cars in your lot will not be able to drive out until that 3-day window is up. I think that's all the questions that we have. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to ask? Hopefully we've covered a lot of this. Carly, please feel free to unmute your mic and ask your question.
Will the pool still be open? And then what about the golf course?
That's a great question. Yes, the pool will still be open. As far as the golf course, we are working with the golf course right now to find alternate accommodations for them, and that's ongoing, and we will try to inform you guys as that's updated, but it will stay open. The pool will stay open, the course will stay open. Just parking is going to be a challenge those 3 days during phase 1, and we're looking for a solution, so stay tuned there.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Does anybody have any further questions? Going once, going twice. All right, here we go. Here's another one. I live in the beginning of phase 1 near Lake Lansing. Would it be okay to park at the other complex closer to Lake Lansing instead of going all the way to the other end of Boys Isle? That would be great, but unfortunately we need to respect the parking rights of people that are living in that complex. So we don't have the flexibility to do that. And I know it's going to be an inconvenience, and I really appreciate you guys bearing with us there. Next question. Heidi asks, what are the closure dates again for phase 2? So the prospective closing dates for phase 2, assuming there aren't any delays, would be August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I see a new question from Kelly. Kelly, I have let you have mic access, so if you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Kelly, are you there? Seems like we're having trouble, Kelly. Please feel free to type your question in here, and if we can get to it. Okay. Different Kelly, Kelly Dean, thank you. But yes, Kelly, it says Kelly, parentheses, unverified. Feel free to type your question in here. And if I don't give you a satisfactory answer, please feel free to give me a call or an email and we'll get you taken care of. And then we have Robert trying again. Robert, you should be able to unmute your mic.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Okay, I finally figured it out.
There we go.
You said some people are lucky. The first part of you saying says if you live here, you will be one of the lucky ones. What do you talk? What did you talk?
Yep. So going back to the Google map, you can see that phase 1 and phase 2 are divided between these drives. So it's divided between these two drives. So folks that are in these two lots here, when phase 1 is closed, will have access from the south. And when phase 2 is going on, they will have access from the north. So folks in these lots, so that's 2039 to 20 through 2090 will not be blocked in and will be able to park in their lot for the duration of the project.
I have another question. So when you're parked way down the street in Boys Isle, what do you do? Walk on the grass, or what do you? I mean, is that what you do? You walk on the?
Correct. We are asking people to walk on the grass or request a ride from our inspectors that will be driving golf carts to ferry you guys during the days of the closure.
And so since the pool is going to be open, but they still have to clean the pool, so well, it shouldn't be down that long. They have to worry about that, I guess. Huh?
Correct. Yep. No, we know there's definitely going to be some roadblocks here and that this is inconvenient, but we're hoping that we can limit the impacts to everyone for just 3 days each instead of a long, lengthy construction project.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Kelly, unverified. So it's a suggestion. There is a Granger trash can blocking the parking lot in the apartments at the end of Lac Du Mont. They could access it from Boys Isle if the trash can was removed. Also, I live in one of the quote unquote lucky lots. Is there a means to keep people out of the lots, or will everyone else feel free to park there? Hopefully everybody understands and we can all cooperate together. There's going to be a lot of people that are inconvenienced by this. And again, we want to minimize the impacts on everyone. And we all ask that you refrain from parking in lots that are not yours. And if we have an issue with that, again, let our inspectors know, and we'll take that on a case-by-case basis and handle that during construction.
Is there anyone on the call currently who represents the apartment buildings at 2102 Lac Du Mont? Or having a hard time getting an address on the apartment off the Boys Isle side? Do we have anybody representing the apartment complexes shown there on the screen currently? You could type it into the chat. Okay, it doesn't look like we have anybody representing those, but Dan, I'll take a drive through. I see what they're referring to as it relates to the dumpster there. Yeah,
Right here.
Yep. I'll take a drive over there today, and we will try to get in touch with somebody, because that would allow 2102 and 2100 to maintain parking there at the southeast corner of Lac Du Mont and Lake Lansing throughout the duration of the project as well.
Okay, gotcha. That would be really nice, because then, people that are up here could park on Boys Isle and just walk across this portion.
Yeah, there's a dumpster enclosure, but based on the comment that Kelly made, it sounds like the dumpster might have been intentionally moved to block the drive next to the dumpster enclosure. So I'll investigate and we'll work on that.
Okay, yeah, we'll follow up on that and let folks in phase 1 know as we get closer to construction.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Melinda, for the comments.
Yep. Tammy Robinson asks, the asphalt that was torn up around the parking entries, will that be repaired by Meridian Township? Our intention is that any damage to drives that was caused as a part of this project will be repaired as a part of the project. Things that were not there before, definitely stop our inspector when we're out there and let us know, and we'll take a look at it.
I think that comment is referring to asphalt removals for the curb and gutter spot repairs, Dan.
Oh, got
Yeah,
it. Well, then
so-
hopefully that's fixed then. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
I do. I'm sorry, Carolyn and I kind of came in late because we were trying to figure this out.
Sure.
But we're phase 2. Can you tell us via the Google map, can you show us where we're to be parking?
Yep. So if you're in phase 2, you are going to be parking anywhere between this line that I have drawn across the screen and Lake Lansing Road on the street.
So on Lac Du Mont, anywhere between that line and
Lake Lansing.
and Lake Lansing.
So
Yep.
we'll be parking on the new stuff.
So we'll be parking on the new asphalt. Okay.
That is correct. Yep.
What
Okay.
is your address, just out of curiosity, because you might be in one of the units that will have access to its parking lot throughout.
1998.
Okay, I think you're south of that then.
Yeah, she's almost all the way at the bottom.
Yep.
So it's J, K, and I buildings or whatever.
Yep.
Got it. Anybody else? I think we just have repeat question asked here. So whoever wants to, feel free to unmute your mic and ask your question.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Robert.
Okay, because I didn't know how to unmic it, but I just wondering because nobody's asked about that. You said the golf course will be open, but so how do people get to the golf course? Is there a way that you got a way, since Mike ain't gonna ask it? I think I'll ask it. How do they get to the? what's the
So
provision?
for residents along Lac Du Mont,
No,
you can either walk
non-residents.
non-residents. So we're currently working on a long-term solution with the golf course, and we haven't reached one yet, but stay tuned.
Okay.
We're trying.
And since we have, and now this is maybe this is a not right question, but since we do have deer over here, them walking across it at during nighttime is not going to affect it at all. Affect the deer.
No, we don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the last one. So I have Trisha from Lake of the Hills Apartments. She's on the call and can look into getting the dumpster moved during construction. Thank you so much, Trisha. We'll follow up with you and see what we can do there. And then the last one, Kelly. If you're able to unmute your mic, go ahead and do that. You're still highlighted here, and if not, just feel free to type in your question in the chat. If you can't unmute, you should be able to. Sorry, Kelly Dean. There's multiple Kellys. It's confusing. All right. Well, I think that's all we have. I'm going to leave this up here really quick with our contact information for me, the project engineer, Dan Baumser, and Dan Opsimer, the director of public works, and Brian Poynton, our inspector, who is going to be able to handle most of your issues during construction. We will post this all on the website as well. And if you have anything else, feel free to reach out to us and we'll get everyone taken care of. Nicole, I see your comment about volunteering to run golf carts on Sunday. And I'll talk with Dan Opsimer with the township and we'll see where things go with that. So, but we appreciate your willingness to help out. So, without any, if that's it, I want to thank everybody again for coming out and taking a little bit of your time. So,
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
no problem. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to getting this done as quickly as possible and getting you a brand new road. Have a good night.
Thank you.